Shalom. Apostle Hart coming back at you once again. And welcome to another installment of Apostle GMS. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Today's topic is a continuation. This will be installment 4. We're at the last chapter, which is chapter 7. And then I believe there's some more, A summary at the end of the book. The name, the topic, the continuing topic, like I said, is installment 4. The mark of the beast is the chip from the book. Okay?
This is chapter 7, and it's called The Mark Right Around the Corner. It says, amidst the ongoing depreciation and devaluing of global currencies, weakening economies, the increasing advertisement, endorsement, and propaganda of RFID technology in the media, and the recent legislation such as the NDAA designed to strip fundamental civil liberties and institute martial law, the conditions and circumstances seem ripe, fitting, and ideal to impose a chip upon the population, fulfilling prophecy. And, you know, when you look down there in Venezuela, they now, I believe, it's in order to get money or help from the government, something to that effect, you got to use your fingerprint.
Venezuela is
so everything is geared towards biometrics, which is either an eye scan or finger scan, or whatever they use to identify you. The next step after that is the RFID microchip, because with the RFID microchip, it'll have all of your information stored in there. Not just your finances and all that. Everything about you is going to be in there. So they want to do that to get everybody under one banner, so to speak.
This is a line in Answatigi.
What's the name of that chapter? Chapter 7.
Over a kilometer long.
Hey, I went to Google, right? I put in the mark of the beast right around the corner, seeing what would pop up, and it's nothing but our videos. This is the mark of the beast right around the corner, YouTube. This was May 4th, 2016. Showing you that we constantly putting this up. Oh, there's another article. Then you got pictures here. Oh, let me click the images. Boy, the first images is us. So we're like the top guys as far as Israel is concerned that's pushing this mark of the beast thing. So that's how we know they're watching us. The watchers are watching us. Let's pray that the Most High is watching over us as well. This is over 10,000 people have now received a permanent human RFID. That's just another article. Okay, it says the mark of the beast is right around the corner. The real Israelites, let me click on that. I didn't put in the Israelites and the mark of the beast and nothing like that. I just put in the mark of the beast is right around the corner. And let's see what pops up. Well, let me just click on it. The suspense is killing me. Oh, one of my own videos. What do you know? What do you know? All right. Come back here. Come back. Do you think the mark of the beast is around the corner? The mark of the beast is right around the corner. MP3. Oh wow! If you need MP3, you can download the videos. This is amazing.
It says it's of no mere coincidence that the elite banking families appointed Obama into his current position, as his lot is to unite the nations and usher in a new world order being Nimrod of ancient Babylon in the reincarnation, which we believe that he is Nimrod in the reincarnation. You know, because it started with Nimrod and it's going to end with Nimrod. You know, unless they either take him out or put somebody else in there. You know, but why would they take him out when he's doing the bidding of the elite, the so-called elite? The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. And that's a quote from Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. Obama is the deceptive fascist and puppet frontman for the elites to promulgate and introduce the chip, and the time is now. It says, through the spirit of the Most High, via the elders of GMS, the identity and breakdown of the mark of the beast has been deciphered and revealed. In fact, the mark of the beast is here being used extensively in vehicles, public transit, bus, rail, subway, retail and inventory systems, the military, passports, libraries, museums, schools and universities, hospitals and healthcare, and in credit and debit cards. And you notice this was written a few years back. And now how much more has that usage increased? You know?
Yeah, I believe that was out in
2013. So that's what? That's 3 years. You know, and this right here is reading as a blueprint to what's actually happening right now. You know? So how much more has that knowledge increased from that time 3 years ago till now? You know, just showing you, man. You know, and that's why Nate's not making. He tried to make that video. It's June. Ain't no microchip. It's June. You know, but it's more and more evident as each day goes by that the microchip is the mark of the beast, and they can't get around it. So the only alternative they could do is say what? Well, you know, we didn't say that they didn't have the technology of the microchip, but that's not the mark of the beast. That's all. The only comeback they could come back with. It says RFID, and then really, you know, if you don't accept Christianity, that doesn't mean you can't buy or sell. You know, that's a bunch of BS. RFID. You had something possible, boy?
No, I was just gonna remark on what you said. They can tell you it's not the mark of the beast, but they can't tell you plausibly what is the mark of the beast. Yep. They'll say Christianity, which makes, like you just said, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because how is being a Christian or Catholic or whatever, how is that to have anything to do with buying or selling? You know, it's RFID. RFID usage has amplified and intensified since its creation, and has expanded its use to track animals such as livestock and pets, and humans. And notice before they actually put anything out on the market, whether it be a new drug or whatever, they always test it on animals. You know, you got lab rats and monkeys and all that they always test it on. So these track RFID implants were tested on animals, and they were able to find these animals. And now the brother Yashawamba down in the Dallas camp, he did a video where, you know, as soon as that whole situation went down with the alligator and that toddler, you know, they said that would the toddler have been safe or something like that if he would have had an implantable RFID chip in him or something to that effect. So pretty much they're pushing that. Every time something happens, they're pushing that RFID chip more and more. It says children, toddlers, prisoners, etc. The idea or notion that a small microchip would one day be implanted into humans is no longer science fiction or fantasy. It's reality, evidently RFID technology. Application and use will continue and advance upon the masses on a larger scale, which is happening right now. Ultimately becoming both a norm and standard in our society and world. And that's why they keep pushing that thing now, you know, about the RFID chip. to get the people more and more conditioned to it in the acceptance of it. Now when you go to the store and you have a credit card, they no longer swipe the credit card. I hear the cashier all the time, use the chip, use the chip. You know? Why? Because they're slowly but surely getting the people's mind used to that. You know? Getting the mind conditioned to accepting that, you know, that's a norm, like an everyday norm. So when they actually put it into people, they're already going to be programmed to using the chip anyway. It says, we are presently in the time of warning our people, namely the elect of the nation of Israel. That is the purpose and intention of this book. And the job of the men of the Lord, those aware of the truth and are not teaching our nation, who fail to notify, warn, and alert our people of the impending perils of accepting this chip, indeed do greatly err, as their blood will be required at the watchman's hands. And I gotta hit that. It's Ezekiel chapter 3. Ezekiel chapter 3. Matter of fact, let me get it in the Bible. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and starting at the 17th verse. And that is true. You know, and that's why we constantly getting on these false leaders of Israel, beginning with Nate, General Yohana, you know, and the rest of them clowns, you know, that they're supposed to be warning the people. They're not supposed to be like those foxes in the desert, which is exactly what they are. You know, they're in the desert hunting the prey being Israel out there. You know, so we're supposed to tell them whether they hear or whether they forbid anyway. Ezekiel 3 and 17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. A watchman watches. Watches for what? Watches for an impending danger that's coming and warns the people. That's the part of blowing the trumpet so the people could get themselves ready. Those that get ready, good. Those that don't prepare themselves, tough. It says, therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. Because the Most High himself ain't going to come down here and warn you. He got his men down here, you know, to warn you, to tell you what's going on. And if you take heed, you do. If you don't, then, hey, that's your problem.
Yeah, there's an example of when the Israelites didn't want to speak to Moses.
Yep.
And they wanted to speak to the Most High straight up. And you know what? Let me see if I find it. You know, continue.
All you got to do is go to Google and put part of the verse in. It'll come up, you know. It'll eventually come up, you know. You know, we're coming to a time where these prophecies are coming to pass, and they're going to come to pass more and more because we're almost out of here. And, you know, all this information on the RFID microchip is evident that we're in the last days, and that's definitely the mark of the beast in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. But anyway, when that actually it's going to be a point where we're talking right now. All right, we're teaching, we're talking, we're prophesying, whatever you want to call it. All right, prophesying, and there's going to come a time where the prophecies are going to come to pass, and they are coming to pass. Now, the ones of you that didn't take heed to what we're saying, whether you just don't believe or you're a scoffer or whatever you may be, when it starts happening, man, what you're going to do, you're going to bug out. Because every last one of you, the hour of temptation, as a matter of fact, give me that, Revelation 3, verse 10, I believe it's in. Every one of you is going to be tested. You're going to be tried. And that market, that microchip is going to be presented to you. And then we're going to see, then you're going to start thinking about us. You're going to be thinking about all the videos you watch and you scoffed on, you know. You scoffed at us. But you're going to have, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make a decision, all right? So go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this thing is going to be a worldwide thing, you know. So when the situation that's going on down there in Venezuela, you know, which is the latest, you know, those people are experiencing devastation. You know, they're experiencing hunger, malnutrition. You know, they're bugging out because they can't get the basic essentials or their basic needs from day to day, toiletries and food and things of that nature. So right now they're feeling the crunch, you know. So the next step,
and they're desperate. So whatever thing they present, the government presents to them to bring them back to normalcy, they're going to accept it. They can eat again. You know, they can go back to school. They can watch cable. They get electricity and lights come back on. They can use their smartphones, their laptops. Of course, they're going to accept it.
Measured to be over a kilometer.
And the Pastor Tar has been going over this term a lot lately, normalcy bias. You know, which basically, if I may just read this real quick, it says, this is from Wikipedia, it says the normalcy bias or normality bias is a mental state people enter when facing a disaster. It causes people to underestimate both the possibility of a disaster and its possible effects. This may result in situations where people fail to adequately prepare, and on a larger scale, the failure of government to include the populace in the disaster preparations. You know, and they show you that, I don't know the name of the movie, but I'm not sure if that was the one with, if it was 2012, or if it was the one with Morgan Freeman in it. You know, where they show like impending danger and impending doom upon the earth, and they only had enough room for certain teachers, astronauts and physicists and doctors and certain deep impact, right? So they only had the reserved places where they had for people to go to was only reserved for a few, you know, and the rest of the populace was not included in that. You know, so that's what's happening now. When the government sets up something for continuity of government, they're not really thinking about the populace of the people. They're thinking about the continuance of that society through that government. They're not thinking about the people. That's why they plan on destroying. What is it now? It should be about 7.4 billion people on the planet, reaching 7.5 billion from a few months ago. You know, so they're only concerned about 500 million to be able to control that. So the rest of the people, they don't give a damn. So whatever kills them quicker is better for them and for their plans and their agenda. You know, it says the assumption that is made in the case of normalcy bias is that since disasters never has occurred, it will never occur. So that's what they bank on, because you know that's why these news the news and the weather and all that, they always prepare people for the worst. Oh my goodness, you got to prepare for the worst. This hurricane's coming, it's going to be the worst hurricane ever. Or this disaster's coming, it's going to be the worst. And people bug out.
Well, Esau is heavy into that, man. Jake is not into that. They're not in preparedness. Those preppers, and I'm gonna look up the word preppers, man. Them Edomites, man, are heavy into that prepping shit. You know, that bug out bags, bug out locations. You know, they got TV shows on it. You know, Jake is not. Jake doesn't. Jake, he thinks about what's gonna happen today. You know, he thinking about the final game Sunday night, which I saw the last game. I'm gonna watch the very last game too. You know, you get all into that. Hey, but you know what? My mind is still occupied in prophecies.
That's right. You know, so and they have doomsday preppers. You know, so they got the people's minds conditioned so much that damn, every time they say there's gonna be a disaster or some hurricane or something, nothing ever happens, and we go to the store and we buy up everything and then end up going bad. You know? But it's gonna come a point where people are gonna just say, you know what, the hell with it. It's like the boy that cried wolf, and then what happened? Then the disaster comes and they're gonna be in up shit's creek, so to speak. All right. It says it can result in the inability of people to cope with disaster once it occurs, and that's the point. Point is, people cannot grip their mind around some type of disaster happening. They're not able to cope with it. That's why when 9/11 happened, people bugged the hell out. You know, they bugged the hell out. So that's what's going to happen here, because America has been set up as a comfort for these people. These people have become lazy. They become fat. They become what's the word I'm looking for? Complacent.
Oh shit.
You know, and they're not. They in their wildest dreams, they can't even fathom, you know, something happening on the shores of America, because this media got them so pumped up that this is America, you know, that nothing can ever touch America, you know. But that balloon is gonna be deflated soon, you know. I just read a little more and then I'll go back to the scripture. It says, people with a normalcy bias have difficulties reaching to something they have not experienced before. People also tend to interpret warnings in the most optimistic way possible, seizing on any ambiguities to infer a less serious situation. And that's why these damn international bankers got you so-called Americans in a trick bag, and the world pretty much in a trick bag. So all you gotta do is ask them people down in Venezuela. Do you see the look of desperation on those people? They never thought that this would happen, because Venezuela was like a baby America, a miniature America. They were doing great. The oil had them, man, them people were doing, that was like one of the richest countries in South America. They were doing great. They had no clue or no idea that this was happening. And in a matter of what, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, this whole disaster is going on down there. People killing people for food. You know, desperation of children starving, of malnutrition, everything's shutting down. Nobody's dealing with nothing. Only thing they can think about is survival and eating. You know, they're not thinking about anything else. All right, so going back to Ezekiel 3 and 18. Okay, I'm sorry. You got something?
And therefore, the manufacturer
I found
can't
the scripture.
afford to bring food in.
It's
They are
the book of Exodus
calling this
3, beginning at 19.
economica,
And they said unto
economical
Moses,
war, but that's not
Speak
what it
thou
is.
with
This
us,
is just-
and we will hear. But let not the Most High speak with us, lest we die. Now, when you read the 18th verse, it says, And all the people saw the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. So the point is, the Heavenly Father, through, you know, and His Son wouldn't just come down to the earth and speak in a nice, you know, calm tone, you know, unnerving tone. That's why the Lord, through His Son, has us speaking for Him, because it would be very dramatical, you know, and the people wouldn't be able to handle it. So anybody who desires for the Most High Himself or Yahweh Shai Himself to speak to them, they don't know the history. I just read it to you, the book of Exodus 20:18 to 19. That's it.
Okay, so going back to Ezekiel 3 and 18, it says, When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, because pretty much that's what we're out there speaking through the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, telling people, look, you're going to die if you don't get yourself together.
Another thing, too, the Lord speaks in metaphors. So when He brings all this destruction, that's Him speaking. You know, but He's speaking in a metaphor. Like if He brings a destruction and it kills 3,000 people, that's Him speaking, saying, I don't like what you're doing. And that's the metaphor, you know.
It says, And thou givest him not warning, which Nate is not giving him warning, General Johanna is not giving him warning, and some of them other clowns that call themselves Israelites are not giving these people warning. You know? The thing is the Lord said, give them warning whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. It's not our job to make you get it. Our job is to tell what the Lord said to tell. And those that are part of the elect will get it and be sealed to be delivered. And those that are not part of the elect will reject it and die. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I got a precept to back up what I just said. The book of Isaiah 29:6 also backs up what you're saying. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts. This is an example of Him speaking in a metaphor. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise. So get ready for more earthquakes. You know how devastating an earthquake can be. And they've been saying that the West Coast is about due for a major earthquake, man. and with earthquake and with great noise, with storm and tempest, which means the same thing, and the flame of devouring fire. That's also gunfire too. You know, like the guns going off, blazing. That's the Lord speaking. That's it.
Yeah. So these things are happening. They're going on. They're happening. The Lord is showing, you know, He's showing us and He's showing the world certain examples of it. You know, in certain countries that are experiencing these things that are going to come upon the whole world. That's why we read the scripture that the hour of temptation is going to come to try the whole world. It says, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. And Nate and General Johanna and others of you out there, Barack and all you guys, a lot of men's blood are on your hands because y'all refuse to stand firm and teach the truth of the Lord, beginning with the names of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the microchip being the mark of the beast, and many other things that y'all teaching that are wrong.
Yeah, you're not warning the Israelites the right way. You're not warning them, man. This is the next scripture, Luke 21, beginning at 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon. We're supposed to teach that, about the signs in the sun, the eclipses and all of that.
That means something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yahushua said it. There shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations. Like a good example is Venezuela. Are they not in a state of distress?
That look suspiciously like
all right, so we're supposed to get into that. With perplexity. Perplexity means people not knowing what's going on. Like when you're perplexed, you're confused. All right? And we're not confused because the scriptures say we're not ignorant of the devices of Satan. So when we see something like Venezuela, we know part of it is a false flag. You know, it's a operation by the wicked elite to try to bring in this new world order. The same thing with down there in Orlando, Florida. We see something like that, we know it's a false flag.
It could be part of the
you know,
chromosphere,
we know what the real purpose is, the real motive is. With perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear. And for notice it says men's hearts, so how much more women?
You can see,
and that's when these women are going to gravitate to men like us. They're going to be literally like you see pictures of Rick James when he was on top. You know, the woman fawning at his feet. You'll see it. You'll see it in post-production. There's one album he put out. He had the women. It was, I think, a cartoon, or it might have been a real picture. And Rick James was known for putting women in slavery, man. You know? Yeah, right. Hey, queen. Yeah, hey, man. I know there's an album with Rick James, and he's standing tall.
Everybody loves Rick James, man.
There you go.
You know, he called the women bitches.
Yep, he said, I'm Rick James, bitch. He was known for that, man. You know? Anyway.
Jake is fickle, man.
They're fickle. They're fickle. And there's one chick in particular, fine ass chick. Fine. What was her name? The chick. He wrote the song for Cold Blooded. Linda Blair.
Yeah, Linda Blair, and when she did that, skit, brother, I see. Yep. Boy, I see why he said I got to search her out, boy.
Yeah, Linda
he saw
Blair.
that first scene with them. Hey, I watched that movie, man, with them legs. Because the so-called black man likes some shapely ass legs, man.
Oh yes,
nice,
indeed.
thick, shapely legs.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, man, she had everything. Hey, that's why he wrote that song. Yeah, she had everything. She had the whole package.
And she used to be the devil.
Yeah. She was. She played in The Exorcist, the 1973 movie. That was her, the little girl. Well, she was all grows up then, and she had all the package. And the point is, she was nuts for Rick James, and Rick James was nuts for her. But the point I'm making is, there's an album with him. He's standing, and you had women fawning at his feet, grabbing his feet. Well, when all hell breaks loose, that's what because women are natural born followers, man. That's what they are, you know. They were created to be led, not to lead. Anyway, Luke 21 and 26, it says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for the looking after those things which are coming on the earth. And that's what we're warning you, brothers, about. All right? For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And that's what we're looking for. And when these things begin to come to pass, and this is Yahweh Shai saying this, so we know he's not lying. We know he's telling the truth. Then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. That's pretty much it. You know?
Yeah, so I looked up that word distress in Luke 21, I believe it was the 25th verse. And it comes from the Greek word sunoke, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It says a holding together, a narrowing, the contracting part of a way, metaphorically straits, distress, anguish. All one needs to do is look down over there in Venezuela, and you could see the pure definition of the word distress. The other one is perplexed, aporia, the state of one who is in perplexity. You know, when one is perplexed, they have no clue of what to do. All right, so going back to Ezekiel 3:19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. And that's the point. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also thou hast delivered thy soul. But you guys, you going down the wrong path, and beginning with Apostle Tahar, or will anybody in Great Millstone curse you out to stop you from going down that wrong route, and you curse us out because you're getting all emotional. You know?
Yeah, that's what they did in the past.
Con. So that's on you.
Yeah, I got a precept for you.
No, that's on you, you know. So we did our job. We did what we were supposed to do. You know, now it's between you and the Most High himself. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
I got a scripture real quick. Song of Solomon 3, verse 3, the watchmen that go about the city found me. To whom I said, saw ye him whom my soul loveth. So that right there tells you about going on the highways and the byways.
You found the precept?
Yeah. This backs up what you just said. These guys that we're warning, and they have a problem with us warning for whatever reason. Yahweh Shai call them vipers and serpents. The book of Matthew 23 and 33, it says, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers. And that same generation is back now, and a lot of them are on the comment board. How can ye escape the damnation of hell? Which is talking about that destruction, that nuclear destruction, along with the chariots, because the chariots themselves are going to bring fire too. Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men. And that's us, man. Great Millstone, that's us. And a few other individuals out there who don't necessarily have the name Great Millstone, but they subscribe to the tenets that Great Millstone teaches. All right? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you, they are the prophets and wise men and scribes. And some of them ye shall kill and crucify. Like the brother down there in Trinidad, was he not killed? You had guys
Stephen.
Yes, Stephen, back in the
James,
past. James.
The apostles.
Yeah.
Paul, all of them except for John. They got all of them. Yahweh Shai they crucify, yep.
Yeah, that's right. And well, that's what Yahweh Shai is saying there. He said, some of them you shall kill and crucify. Like when you assassinate our character on the comment board, you really are crucifying us. You know,
Revelation 11 chapter.
Yeah.
Whom thou have crucified.
Yeah.
That's in in other words, He wasn't crucified over here, but his character was assassinated, man.
God.
They put a crack up there.
Yeah.
And they call his name Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, why you going to do that? Why you going to call this man Yahweh? Why you going to call him Christ?
What's
your problem, boy?
What's your problem? Yahweh has a blessed name, man. Christ, there's nothing blessed about Christ. But anyway, it says, some of them you shall kill and crucify. Like I said, on the comment board, you call us rapists, all that names you call us. That's child molesters, rapists, raping 3-year-olds, whatever.
Which we're not.
Which we're not doing. You're crucifying us. Anyway, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues.
Which you're adding to the book anyway. You're adding to the book.
Con. And some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues, and we know that personally what happened to us, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, the son of Barachias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. He's talking about this very generation.
They're the 42nd generation.
Con. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee. That's why you have a problem with us, man. And we indeed are the prophets. Because the word prophet means to say before, we're straight up giving you the 100% of what's going to happen before it happens. Unlike them other groups. They bullshit, man, making rap videos and shit. What, man? How often would I have gathered thy children together? The Lord trying to gather you together. You don't want to be gathered. Even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. You don't want to be gathered together, but the elect will be gathered together. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And that's pretty much it. So get ready, man. That trouble is coming.
Yeah, I got another scripture. Hold up, I just want to check something. Because your apocrypha used to have a picture with the chicken, the hen and the chicken. Yeah, it's not in this one. This is Isaiah 52, verse 8. It said, the watchmen, which are us, shall lift up the voice, which we are doing. With the voice together shall they sing. And we're singing. We're singing with this, what's in the book. For they shall see eye to eye when Yahweh shall bring again Zion. So when the Most High established Zion, reestablish the nation of Israel, we're going to be there because we're doing it right now. We haven't stopped. All right, it says Isaiah. See, sometime you know what you got to do? You put in a key word. Just put in a key word, man. You go to the Bible dictionary or go to the Blue Letter or go to whatever Bible concordance online and just look up them words. Just put one word in, and that's a topic right there, you know? And it says, Isaiah 56, verse 10, his watchmen are blind. It's not talking about us. Right. The ones of you that are teaching that the mark of the beast is Christianity and an embargo, you either got paid off or you're blind. One or the other. If you got paid off, okay, you got paid off, all right? If you're blind, then you have no business bucking up against the men that see. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They could not bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber, all right? Another scripture on watchmen. It says Isaiah 62, verse 6. And have you guys been in GMS, Great Millstone, you guys that's been in this thing for a while, have you been putting up your 2 videos per week? I doubt it. There's a handful. The guys that's been putting up their 2 videos plus videos a week are the same guys that have been doing it before I even gave the order out, man. The guys that's on fire, that's pushing this word, are continuing to push this word. All right? The guys that are bullshitting are continue to bullshit, man. Well, go ahead and bullshit, man. Because I'm looking to save myself. That's what the scriptures say. Matter of fact, get me that. Philippians, please. It says Isaiah 62, verse 6. It says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silent. That's what the Most High said. So when it said keep not silent, does it mean to take breaks? Take the whole winter off? Go down to the DR? Go down to the PR? Nah, don't say that, man. Go to the movie theater and watch the movie with a rabbit suit on. That's an inside joke, sitting next to two white people eating popcorn. That's Baloo. Hey, man, I found that picture. I ain't think about it. Look, I said, man, that's Baloo right there, man. Him going to 14th Street, he said, I'm going to go to the movies, man.
That's something he would do, too. He's always... Oh, cut. Yeah, Baloo is always playing hooky. He's always playing hooky from doing the work.
I got something real quick.
Yeah, good.
Isaiah 21:8. It says, and he cried, a lion, my Lord. I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. You know, so that's, back up to that other precept in Isaiah 62.
Another cut, another scripture, Jeremiah 6, verse 17. It says, also I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet, but they said, we will not hearken. I don't even got to explain that.
Philippians 2:12. Wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. All right, going back to the book, Ezekiel 33:1-9. In ancient Egypt, Moses prepared Israel to avoid the Lord's judgment against Egypt when he smote the firstborn in all the land of Egypt, known today as Passover, Exodus the 12th chapter. America is spiritually the contemporary modern-day Egypt, Revelation 11:8. And likewise will receive the Lord's judgment, Revelation the 18th chapter. The fact that the true breakdown concerning the mark of the beast is being revealed and the men of the Lord are blowing a trumpet is indicative that we are rapidly approaching this monumental biblical prophecy. Undeniably, that is the charge, obligation, and responsibility of the prophets, the watchmen, Isaiah 58:1, Jeremiah 6:17-18, Joel 2:1, Amos 3:6-7. That is to say before, Latin profeta, pro before, and fetes speaker, derivative of phanai, to speak. That's where you get the word phonetic from. Greek prophetes, foreteller, prophet. Hebrew nabaya'ah, spokesman, speaker, prophet. Throughout the scriptures, the Lord power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, speaks through his servants, the prophets, Jeremiah 25:4. The Most High being bound by his word, unable to lie, Numbers 23:19, Isaiah 55:11, Titus 1:2. Reassures us that the mark of the beast must come to pass before the destruction of America. Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealed the secrets unto his servants, the prophets, Amos 3:7. A recent survey conducted by Accenture and Information Technology, IT, consulting and services company, shows half of all U.S. retailers have already adopted RFID technology, and that most retailers and suppliers will be using RFID in the near future, which they're doing that now. They went from regular credit cards, debit cards, the welfare cards and all that. Now they got chips in them. There's chips in all of those cards. You went from actual food stamp to dollars, with the funny colors on it, with the $1, $2, $5, whatever.
And I'm gonna say this too. Going back to this video, Israelites tried, and what's the name? Tried and Refined used to be down with us, doing their own thing now. They had a little discussion with some of the men from GOCC, and they went into the mark of the beast. And one of the guys from the GOCC said that they already got the mark of the beast, which shows you that he doesn't understand what the hell, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. He pulled out a smartphone and said, "This is it." Well, that means you got the mark of the beast. And the Most High, if you a man of the Most High, how in the hell you got the mark of the beast? It said that the man of the Lord wasn't going to accept the mark of the beast. Now, mind you that the smartphone has an RFID chip in it, and your credit cards and a lot of your devices. That doesn't mean you accepted the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is when you actually accept that physical chip in your right hand, in your left hand, in your butt cheek, all right, or in your forehead. That's when you have accepted it, man. Because carrying around a smartphone does not mean you have the mark of the beast, or else you'd be condemned. Why would you teach about the mark of the beast and the scripture said we're not supposed to accept it, but here you are, God, you have it, and you call yourself a man of the Lord? Don't make no sense.
It's the phone. It's right in your hand.
Notable apparel and footwear merchandisers and stores such as Macy's, JCPenney, Bloomingdale's, and Walmart are all using RFID. RFID technology is also being employed in electronics and video gaming. The wireless controller of the Nintendo Wii U video game consoles uses RFID tags. There is speculation and belief that RFID is the new successor to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi technology, as the three are all wireless network systems utilizing, radio waves. Seeing that RFID science and technology continues to expand globally in virtually all fields of life, there are now hundreds of companies around the world producing the RFID chips, such as Impinj Inc., Verichip, Bluebeam, IBM, Positive ID, and Applied Digital Solutions, just to name a few. Together with the high demand of RFID tags and chips, particularly among large retail corporations and department stores, coupled with the struggling economies and financial centers of the world, it's for certain and inevitable that the RFID meets finances very soon. The international bankers plan to scrap and discard the worthless euro and dollar, and what do you believe will replace it? When fiat currency is disposed of and eliminated, there will be what will be its substitute? The scriptures say the new standard or currency will be the mark of the beast, Revelation 13:16-17, and that mark is the RFID microchip. And that is the end of the 7th chapter. And now we're going to go into the summary. But that just shows you that the mark of the beast is going to be something dealing with something monetary. Because monetary is one of the biggest things, or the economy is one of the biggest things that holds an empire up. Because without finance, there is no, I was going to sing the song. Without finance, there's no, you can't pay for anything. You can't pay your soldiers to protect your home front. You can't pay, you can't pay anything. Like the song said, no romance without finance. So pretty much, that shows you that these guys that say that the mark of the beast is not the microchip, they, like Apostle Charles said earlier, they either paid off or they're blind. Which we believe that the majority of them that's teaching that were paid off, because they know better. They can read the scriptures, and they've been around long enough, to know what's what.
And then they have the true men of the Lord to go to. That's right. So they can't say they didn't know, they didn't realize it. You had the true men were there, man.
All right, so this is the summary. To summarize the whole book of what is the mark of the beast is the chip. It says, although several theories, arguments, and beliefs exist as to what the mark of the beast is, Romans 16:17, 1 Corinthians 1 and 10, there is only one true sound doctrinal teaching and breakdown, 1 Timothy 4:16, Titus 2 and 1, 2 John 1 and 10. Of late, there has been much conjecture and speculation regarding the identification and nature of the mark, which at this point now, 3 years later, the voices of those that are coming against that technology and saying it's not the mark of the beast is getting very small. It says the aim, purpose, and intention of this literary work is to substantially diagnose and determine the mark in context and relation to the scriptures via a well-constructed and thorough analysis of biblical laws, historical references, precepts, and etymology, and to distinguish the correct teachings from false, distorted doctrines. Let us briefly review and recap in essence the themes, topics, and subject matter previously detailed through a short synopsis that the reader might fully understand and be persuaded, Romans 14:5, that the mark of the beast is nothing other than the RFID chip. The fundamental basis of the RFID chip is founded upon radar technology advances, used principally and primarily as a surveillance tool to track and monitor. The device is being widely used in a vast variety of industries and business sectors. This small instrument, known as the RFID chip or microchip, is implanted or inserted into a person or object by incision. And when you read the scriptures, when you look up certain words, it tells you this. It's an incision that you have to make in order to put this mark inside of you. The significance of this is that the mark of the beast is a physical mark pertaining to the corporal body, as opposed to the distinguished and distinct form of a mental, spiritual, philosophical, or ideological entity. As a matter of fact, the Greek word found in the book of Revelation is charagma, meaning an imprinted mark, a thing carved, sculpted, or graven. This act is in violation of and of the same nature as the mark identified in Leviticus 19:28. The mark of the beast ought not to be confused nor mistaken with the mark located in Ezekiel 9:4 and Romans 16:17. As the scriptures indicate, the mark will be introduced by means of the beast, Revelation 13 chapter. The beast is the return, revival, and restoration of the ancient Roman Empire, Revelation 13:3, recognized today as a European Union, pursuant to...
You read about the ancient Roman Empire. That's the image. When you go back to the scripture, matter of fact, when you go back to Revelation 13, because the image is not no damn Caesar Borgia.
This is the book of
Caesar Borgia.
Caesar Borgia. This is Romans 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. It says, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So now this beast that had the 7 heads notices is a red beast. Those are Edomites. And it has 7 heads, which are the 7 major empires of Esau, the so-called white man, beginning with the Greeks, all right, and ending with the British. And then the 8th head of that beast, so to speak, is America, right? It says, and it has 10 horns and crowns upon those horns. And those 10 horns represent what used to be called the EEC, or the European Economic Community, which now is called the European Union, which were confederate with the ancient Roman Empire. Those are different city-states or countries that fought hand in hand with the ancient Roman Empire. Now they're all coming back today as a revival, through those same European countries, through Rome, through Britain, through America, and that whole union that they have, consisting of the European Union and NATO. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. That's dealing with the Greeks, beginning with Alexander the Great. And his feet were as the feet of a bear, because the bear represents the bear is Russia, and the bear represents the end of the beast. And what's going to bring the end of this whole society is the bear, which is Russia. It said, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the mouth of a lion represents Britain, because really America gets their marching orders from Britain. They're the ones that's controlling the shots, because that's where and they using the queen as a front, but it's really the Rothschilds behind the scenes that are controlling and manipulating everything on the planet. It says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, and that dragon is what? The Roman Empire. That's where they got their power from. So now it's going to go into it. It says, and I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death. And when did that happen? Beginning around 180, with Marcus Aurelius, Commodus, and Septimius Severus, and the rest of those different emperors, and really coming to its fullness around 325 A.D. when Constantine, the so-called Great, sat upon the throne. And that's when the Roman Empire was pretty much down, it was down. And for a period of 1,000 years, Jake was ruling all throughout Europe. And after that 1,000-year period, that's when they came back into power.
Yeah, the pagan Roman Empire was destroyed. Gone. And what you had was the so-called Holy Roman Empire, which was Jake ruling for about 1,000 years. And then you had the Borgias came in there and, and pretty much took over. Esau started ruling from then.
Yep. It says, and his deadly wound was healed, and that's when it was healed, starting around 1325, going into the late 13 and into the 1400s.
Also, Elder Apostle Tar brought out something called the Age of Discovery, when you had all these devils that worked in tandem with the Borgias and then later the Rothschilds to totally take over the world. You had these so-called expeditionists, Vasco da Gama and Pizarro, and Hernando Cortez and Christopher, was that Ponce de Leon, and most notably Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon. They were all working to bring this devil kingdom into being. Yeah,
because this was what they were gonna launch, the New World Order from this place here, which they knew of. Everybody knew about this side of the world. Just not everybody came over to this side of the world. So this was they figured this was a perfect place to set up, to gain control of the whole entire world. And that's the purpose and intent and the reason why America was set up, was to take over the whole world and set up this so-called New World Order. All right, it says, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered. And then his deadly wound was healed, as we were just saying, through the bubonic and the pneumonic plague, the papacy being taken over by Rodrigo Borgia, the different empires within Europe being taken down by Esau, the so-called white man.
Iconoclasm.
Yep, iconoclasm, the defacing of the images.
Yep, help heal his deadly wound. Because his deadly wound was he was put in slavery. Yep. When iconoclasm came into being, that helped put him on top. All of a sudden now, all his images are being plastered all over. And what they did was destroy the original image and just put their images.
Right. It said, and this is what happened after that took place. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they...
The main one they're wondering after is Caesar Borgia. Right. His image. He done conquered the world with his image.
Yep. That was the new face.
Go ahead.
That was the new face of the rulers of the world.
Right.
It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave him power. That gave power unto the beast, and that dragon is what? The Roman Empire.
Yeah, like I said, the image is not Caesar Borgia. The image is the system, the Roman system, the Senate, and so forth.
That's why it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, because that's where they got the power from the Roman Empire. That's why the amalgamation, even today, to this day, what happened? How did America and all this stuff? How was it all set back up into power? Through the Club of Rome, through the Treaty of Rome. Everything stemmed back to the ancient Roman Empire. But today is known as a new Roman Empire, really being spearheaded by America, because everything that America says or does is basically law in NATO, in the EU, and all of that. Because this is the spearhead, of that lance, so to speak, of the New World Order. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him, and who can make war with him. That's why he had Russia and others that had to make alliances against America, against NATO, against the EU, because nobody can make war against these people, unless they had a major powers, and major armies that can meet, and match these devils. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And
that's why Yahweh Shai has to come with the angels to take down the power of this beast. He was set up by the Heavenly Father Yahweh, so Yahweh's son, Yahweh Shai, is going to take him down.
And we're at the end of the 42 months, which is I believe that's adds up to 350, 3.5 years, which is prophetically 350 years. From the time of the bulk of the slaves coming to America until the time when the truth was brought out to the forefront, and the children were being woken back up by a man by the name of Abba Bivens, who the scriptures call Elijah the prophet.
Yeah, here's a prophecy of what I just said. The book of Revelation, beginning at the 19th chapter, 11th verse. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. That's Yahweh Shai. Now that white horse represents those chariots. You see, the horse represents power. Now the white horse represents the purity of those, the pure power of those chariots. All right, it ain't talking about an actual horse. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So when he's coming with those chariots, he's coming to make war against who? Against Esau, who's the power of this world. Okay? His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. Why is that? Because he's not only going to take down Esau, he's going to take down all those nations that's trying to jump together to bring this so-called New World Order. Like in the book of Psalms, it says, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? So it says his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, symbolizing all the kingdoms he's going to take down. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Reading on, it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, which symbolizes much death and destruction that he's going to bring with those chariots. And his name is called the Word of the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh Shai. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. That's the chariots coming with Yahweh Shai. Ezra said that the chariot Yahweh Shai was in looked like a mountain. And then he looked for the place where the mountain was cut, but he couldn't find it because it wasn't a mountain. It was just a big-ass chariot. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. And brothers, we hope that we're blessed to see that, man. And if, truly if we're blessed, we're going to see that, man. We're going to see this prophecy. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses clothed in fine linen, white and clean, meaning the purity of the chariots, the power of it. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. That sharp sword is those laser beams. That laser. All right, that cutting fire. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. That's why it tells you in Isaiah, the slain of the Lord shall be many. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress and the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty power. So one can only imagine how Yahweh Shai, when he comes with the angels, the devastation he gonna bring, man.
And that's another part of the reason why the scripture in the book of Ezekiel was said that men looking at the things that are coming
fainted.
And fainted. Yeah.
Habakkuk said when he saw the vision in the 3rd chapter, he said he was sick. And men were stronger back then, as they're not now, So, man, like I said, one can only imagine what kind of destruction Yahushua is bringing. We know he's bringing salvation, but we also know he's bringing destruction. And you know them other groups don't teach like that? You know what, man? They don't know. Yeah, brother, you got it.
Hey, well, that's why Pastor Tara, I believe Pastor Tara said it. Them guys, a lot of them guys are on the romper room level, man.
Them guys are full of shit. Straight up and down, man.
It's not, it's not bragging or boasting, because the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is the one that gave us this knowledge. But they don't have an excuse, because we're telling them. They're getting it for free. I mean, shit, they take our signs for free. They talk shit about it, but they use our camp signs that brothers put together.
Like Elder Apostle Tal just said a little earlier, if you're blind and you got a guy that can see and he's leading you, why you gonna get mad at the guy that's?
That's a simple-minded nigga. That's a simple-minded nigga. That's all you can say, man. That's the stink meaner. He'll buck up against you, man. Man, hey, I bet I'll kick him off a mountain, man. That nigga. Talking black blind man.
Back at
Calling you a nigga, nigga.
what's really good. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High to blaspheme his name. That's why they call him Jesus and Christ and all them other names, Jeshua and Yahweh and all that. And Ahaya and Yeshaya, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. That's why you see little white baby angels floating around with wings on their backs.
Yeah, Caesar Borgia again. That cocksucker.
Tell them how you really feel.
Yeah. Caesar Borgia. Then the what was that? The painting in the Sistine Chapel. Oh, supposed to Michelangelo, the finger of God. Yeah. Supposed to be Adam and the Most High, and they're meeting, touching fingers, and they man.
Which that's all Masonic.
Yep.
The hand gesture, the way the hands are shaped, it's shaped in the letter M. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Who's that? That's these devils, man. The so-called white man. Who got control over everybody on the world? These devils, man. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. And now it's showing you that when you read up above that, there was a period of time when Jake was in slavery here. So it says, now, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Why is it going to be speaking about the history of the Roman Empire and all of a sudden say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity? Because during that time period when the revival of this beast came back into power, the Israelites were in slavery for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
You asked on the Apostle?
Yeah. More than 2,000 years ago, that's what Yahushua was telling Pilate. Look, the days are coming when my kingdom is going to be set up. We're in those days now. This is an excerpt from John, the 18th chapter, 36th verse. It says, Yahushua answered, and he's speaking to Pilate, by the way. Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight. We're his servants. We ain't fighting for this world, because Yahushua is coming to destroy this world, man. It tells you in the Apostle Paul said, the fashion of this world passeth for...
So can an Israelite join this man's military?
No. It's of the
And what's
world.
the first defense of this man's military? The police, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hey, that's why this cat calls him Christ.
Khan.
But that's who he follows.
We're talking about Nate, man. He is the servant of this world. He's not the servant of Yahushua. All right? He's fighting for this world.
They said he will have no king but Caesar rule over us, something like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight. I mean, that's plain. That I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. That's pretty much it. Which we're waiting for his kingdom to, and he's going to dramatically bring in his kingdom.
Yeah. Can I just read this here? And now you got more to read on that book, right? Are you finished?
No, I still got more to
Okay, okay. All right, so I hope I didn't lose it. Okay, okay, this is Ezra speaking in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. I'm going to read the start from the 8th verse. It says, that thou lay up in thy heart the signs that I have showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations which thou hast heard. Now, one of the dreams that he had when you go to the a chapter back is when Yahushua came back in that mighty ship, which we call the Father's ship, and the ship was so big that Ezra thought it was a mountain. Okay, so they're talking about talking about these visions that you're seeing. You know, it says, "For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son." Okay, well, I guess Ezra's never came back, you know, based upon what I'm reading. And with such as be like thee until the time be ended. For the world have lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. So what time period is being talked about over here? This is around about 500 years before Yahushua came on the scene. So we're talking about 2,500 years ago, right? It says 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts, meaning 1,000-year parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and the half of the 10th, meaning he was on the scene 2,500 years ago. Yahushua came about approximately 500 years later. 2,000 years in the future is talking about now. So everything is lined up. It says, and there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th. Because after the 10th, you got the 11th and the 12th, right? Now, therefore, set thine house in order and reprove thy people. And that's what we're doing. Ezra's doing it back then, and we're doing it right now. It says, now, therefore, set thine house in order. What's the house that's being set in order? Starts with a D. The house of David. The house of David. Somebody go to that. The house of David, right? So if the house of David is being set up, who's going to be sitting on the throne?
David.
David, right? Is Yahushua going to be a king?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be a king over David. But
over
the physical
David,
king on the earth is going to be David.
David, come.
12 verse again. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. And that other half, that's when Yahushua came on the scene. Now, therefore, set thine house in order, which is happening right now, and reprove thy people. Go out there and curse them out. What was Isaiah? Somebody get me Isaiah 58:1 right quick. All right? It says, comfort such of them as be in trouble. So the ones that be in trouble, they being comforted, man. And now renounce corruption.
Oh, renounce corruption.
Corruption meaning ripping people off, man. It says, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. You know, it gets cold out there, these guys, that's a new trend. Right. And then when one group did it, the others follow. You notice when we got on Baloo, them other groups said, nah, man, Baloo is right. Because all of them, that's a new trend. There's a lot of them that don't even go out, period. They're doing lectures now, man, and charging you to watch them on pay-per-view. The most I ain't dealing with that, and selling you DVDs, man. They're doing it for filthy lucres, man. It says, and set aside, because they say, yeah, the GMS is all about ripping off money. Hold up. Don't you think we would make T-shirts with GMS on it, and DVDs, and pay-per-views, and
monetize our videos?
Monetize every... Tell me one video. Now, you might have some brothers that might monetize it to get... There's one brother that monetized his video But every time he get money, he'll buy camera equipment, man. Right. If you notice, you go to my video, you go to Apostle Gabar video, you go to Apostle Ramla video, or any of them videos, them top men, none of them videos is monetized, man. Right. Right. Now, why do we do that? Because this is not about money, number one. Them videos it freely has it been give, freely have you received, freely give, right? And another thing is, if we do that, that's another thing. See, them dudes ain't right. Yeah. So you know what? We'll say, no, we ain't going to monetize nothing, man. We ain't going to have you wait to see a 30-second commercial so you can watch our videos, all right? No. When you click on the video, we want the video to come right up, bam. Start watching it, man. You know?
Start learning.
That's right. Roar from the door. Start learning, man. As soon as you hit click, you're going to start learning. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. If you're depressed, stop being depressed. Well, deal with your depression, man. And we're all depressed in one way or another because we're in hell. Because the word depressed means oppressed. So we're being pressed by this devil. And when you drive in the car, you ever have a police officer behind you? They might not pull you over, but they're riding, and you make a turn, they turn with you. You know you, and then they keep going and shit. Then you're relieved. You're being depressed, man. You're being that's a form of depression, okay? And then when they pull you over, you like, what the hell they pulling me over for? You all worried and shit. You know, most of the time your backlight was out. Don't worry, make sure you get it fixed. You know, you be like that because we are supposed to deal with the laws of this land, all right? You ain't supposed to be driving or operating a vehicle or whatever and acting like with no lights on, going through stop signs, running garbage cans over. Now that's a nigga. If you're doing that in GMS and we find out about it, you gonna get the boot. That's right. Okay, automatically. All right. That's right. It says and set aside and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. That's a good scripture to start reading. Because he's going, we don't know, it could be another. Well, no, that's not the added, that's not the right. A man teaching that, well, we don't know. It might be another 40 years. You got to, don't walk from that man, run from that man, all right? We are in the times of the end. Even this chick, this Benjaminite chick, I go to this particular store, right? And that was after the Post got shot up. Right. He said, yeah, they were talking about it. She said, yeah, the world's coming to an end. He said, the Most High coming back. And then there was a dude, a big, overgrown, he looked like the nigga from Blindside. Remember that movie, Blindside? Remember the football movie? Yeah. He was that damn big. He's a big 6'3", big, overweight, mountainous looking Negro, man. And then when she said that, and I said, I think I said, that's right, sister. I said, your eyes are open or some shit like that. And then he said, what you mean? What you mean the end of the world coming? And I didn't say nothing. I said, I'm not even going to say. The Spirit said, don't even acknowledge that dude. Just don't even entertain that demon. That shows you that a lot of grown men a lot of you grown black men, you Israelite men, are clueless as to what's happening, man. So when they push that market, that chip on you, most of you going to take it. Right. Most of you niggas I already see you going to get in, and we're going to do a lot of filming, man. We're going to go to wherever station you got to go to get that mark. You know, if we're not locked up in a concentration camp and shit, we're going to be filming that, and we're going to be doing updates on it, you know? Because, see, when we're speaking about the prophecies, so when these prophecies start coming to pass, we're going to start, if the Most High give us the power, we're going to film all these things, and we're going to do videos showing you, look, get the scripture, that's what this means, and that's what that means, you know? The fact that you got these war games with NATO, and then you got Russia doing their war games, and then you got China and their warships in certain waters doing war games with other nations. That's prophecy, man. Armageddon is coming. Because Armageddon ain't going to come until the mark of the beast come. Then Armageddon going to come. All right? It says 15, right? This is 2nd Ezra 14, verse 15. It says, and set aside the thoughts that are, you know what, man? Most High, when I want to read Ezra, man, that the whole book is good. I want to get into that Most High willing on the street. You know, the 13th chapter, the 14th chapter, the 15th chapter, the 16th chapter, and some of the other chapters. You know, because we got, right now we got, well, hold up, I got the scripture. Wait a minute, I got the scripture. It says here's Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all ancients. All ancients is talking about the prophets, the Psalms, the Proverbs, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, the book, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and be occupied in prophecies. So the mindset that you're supposed to be in is to be occupied in prophecies. We're not saying that you can't teach certain laws and stuff like that, but the main thing that you're supposed to be really into, your focus is supposed to be on, is these prophecies. This 4-part series rather, we did on the mark of the beast being a chip, is nothing but prophecy. Nothing but prophecy. And it's not getting ready to come to pass. It is coming to pass right before your eyes, man. All right, now let me go back. Where the hell did I go? Okay, 15 verse again. 2nd Ezra 14, verse 15. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from the times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. So it's going to get worse. It says, for look how much the world shall be weaker through age. The infrastructure of the society, man. Somebody get me Isaiah 14 and what is that, 9? So much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. So things are going to get worse. And so you can read that out.
Isaiah 14 and 9, it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming.
Yeah, because you're going straight down, devil.
Yeah. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. Okay. Oh, I thought you was gonna. Oh, okay. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Now that's directed to the so-called white man who was at one time, he fancied himself more powerful than all the other nations. But now he's being brought down to their level. Right. Like case in point, the Japanese and the Chinese, at one time, right, they looked up to the so-called white man. Yep. Really not anymore. Now they're seeing him for what he really is. Yeah, they know he's the devil, number one. For the Japanese, Hiroshima proved that. Yep. The way he dealt with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they know that. They'll never forget Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They got monuments over there. And who did Hiroshima and Nagasaki? The so-called white man. Yep. All right? So they're not going to forget that. So deep in their heart of hearts, they hate the so-called white man, the Japanese, the Chinese. And I'm just using them as an example. Isaiah 14 and 10, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And that's directed to the so-called white man. Thy pomp, which at one time they had, going back to the Bourget family, when known as the first crime family, when they came into power, that was the beginning of their pomp. All right? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, which means what? Corrosion. Like all the Apostle Torah mentioned about the infrastructure of take for instance the infrastructure of America. The last grade it received was about a D minus. All right? You got bridges right now, even as we speak, ready to just crumble and fall apart, okay? So the infrastructure of America in particular is the grade that it received was a D minus, okay? And there's an old saying, as the infrastructure go, so goes the nation, or so goes the country. Rome. The Appian Way, right. At one time, the Appian Way, which was located in Rome, used to be taken care of, you know, and then when Rome fell into decline, when the denarius started being cheapened and devalued, the Appian Way wasn't being taken care of, and it became dilapidated. All right, just look up the history, and the Appian Way, that was one of the main vein, if you will, through going for commerce.
All roads lead to Rome.
All roads lead to Rome. One of the main roads was the Appian Way. That's why the highways of America really goes back to Rome. Yeah. The way they created the highways, that goes back to Rome. Okay? Thy pomp is brought...
And if I may say, back then in the Roman Empire, the soldiers would actually build bridges and roads and all of that, you know? So they were not just soldiers. They were also, while they weren't taking down a country, they would build stuff, you know, whether it be ramps or bridges or whatever.
They still have that Army Corps of Engineers. Those they build stuff.
Look at that.
Build fall bridges and stuff.
There you go. So going back to the prophecy, it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave. So all of that led to your pomp. Like in the 50s when the highways were built, anyone will tell you America's best years were the 40s and the 50s. Yep. Now, after the late 50s going into the early 60s when Vietnam came in, that's when America started cycling, going down the drain. If you watch shows like Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver, you could see the pomp, you know.
There were more moral-based shows.
Yeah.
You know, family-based
shows. Yep. Yeah. So that was the pomp of this.
Daniel 7, I believe, they were more stout than their brethren.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was those family-based shows. Now, you don't see that anymore.
Now you got Simpsons and Married with Children, right. like degenerate shows. You know?
The dilapidation of the family. Yep. Easy, what they call that? Easy love.
Yeah, homosexual.
You know, homosexuality,
lesbian,
free love. Yeah,
free love.
That's what it's called. And that came in the late 60s. You had the free love movement. And that's part of the prophecy where it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Talking about your pomp, so-called white man. Talking about you. That's right. You. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, meaning that you being brought down. And the noise of thy vials, also your songs, your music. The worm is spread under thee, meaning corrosion. All right? Your society is being corroded from inside out. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Again, the so-called white man. Really, that's talking about your elites, your Illuminati, your secret societies. How are you fallen from heaven, meaning rulership? O Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And that's pretty much it.
All right, so going back to the book. Let's go back to the book, right, Apostle Turn. All right, going back to the book, it says that beast is the return, revival, and restoration of the ancient Roman Empire, Revelation 13:3, recognized today as a European Union, also the NATO. Pursuant to Revelation 17:12, we learn and perceive that the collapse of the European Union is imminent, and we're witnessing it in the prevalent, ongoing European sovereign debt crisis.
You got to read that again.
It says, pursuant to Revelation 17:12, we learn and perceive that the collapse of the European Union is imminent, and we're witnessing it in the prevalent, ongoing European sovereign debt crisis, as nations such as Greece, Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and Italy are struggling economically. In the United States, the birthplace of RFID, politicians and lawmakers have included and integrated RFID into legislation being approved by the FDA. RFID has been proposed in healthcare reform border security / illegal immigration, social security, and military law enforcement.
Yeah, I know. I read. I was trying to find. I came across a story. Now the body replacement parts for organ transplants. They're putting the chip in them now.
Oh yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie?
You talking about what's his name? With the actor.
The RZA was in it, right?
Yeah, he was in there.
Forrest Whitaker was
Forrest
in it,
Whitaker was in there, and I forgot the other guy. I forgot the
damn.
name of the movie.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the movie. But basically, in the movie, you were able to buy organs, but
Right.
the organs were like mechanical organs. And if you didn't pay the money you owe for the organ, they will come and repo men or something like that.
Yeah, repo
Repo?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so they will come and
Repo, right.
repossess the organs from you. So you could be in the middle of the street somewhere walking, and they catch you, because they had these would show you that they had the RFID in them, because that's how they would know, okay, this person is delinquent on their payment, and they would catch them whether they be in a building
And that's
or on
what
the
Aaron
street.
Russo said.
Yeah.
Aaron Russo said that to Alex Jones, who allegedly set him up.
That's heavy.
Aaron Russo said, he said, look, if the people protest, they could just turn off their chip.
Yep.
Aaron Russo, they got him, man.
Yeah.
They got him. He revealed too much,
So they silenced him. It says the global plan of the international bankers is to merge and establish all people and nations of the world under a one world government, wherein this worldwide government will regulate and monitor the population via the RFID chip. This chip will be proposed, offered, and presented as the alternative currency solution to the ailing dollar and euro.
And basically, that chip makes the so-called white man God.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to be. At the end of the day, he wants to be God. That's why at the He-Man Masters of the Universe.
Yep.
Who was they had there? Black man?
No.
Adam.
Lily-livered, yeah.
Dude's name was Adam, by the way. He was a so-called white man. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yep.
Because that's what they want to be. They want to be God. Yeah, well, check that out. And that takes us back to Ezekiel. Because thou hast said, the prince of Tyrus have said, I am God.
Yep.
You
shall be a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said, I will be like the Most High. We were reading in Isaiah the 14th chapter, because they really want to be the Most High.
And the fact that Adam turns into a so-called black man when he gets the power, he says, I am the power. That proves that they know that Jake is the real God, man. That's the proof right there.
It says, as the New World Order encompasses the theory of a global one-world economy, one fact, and it's not a coincidence that everything that's going on around the world is centered around an economic basis. If you notice these different countries, what's the main thing that's bringing them down? Their economy. Why are people rioting? The economy. Why are people bugging out? The economy. One factor and component the elites will use to influence and persuade the masses to accept the chip is religion, namely through the Vatican, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Pope, and also guys out there that call themselves Israelites that are going to go and try to bring out Romans the 13th chapter and try to say that they have to obey the government based off of that scripture. Like Nate. The Pope and the Roman Catholic Church represent the false prophet, Revelation 16:3, 19:20, and 20:10. Other powerful, influential, and prominent figures will also be deceptively exploited and used to deceive the masses. Realization and awareness that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast is important and imperative. Equally meaningful is being...
My man Mike the Hamite still believes in the mark of the beast. He just believes in the Hebrew.
That's all he cares about.
I guess so. I'm not, allegedly, there's a story circulating that Pope Francis is endorsing the RFID microchip. But then they came back with another one, hoax alert, Pope Francis. Yeah, he called. So why is that so far-fetched? Right.
And then they say that all the employees of the Vatican have to have the RFID, the microchip in them, to be able to track them wherever they go.
Well, now, see, but that's what I'm saying. I just Googled it. Pope calls for microchip. Here's one story saying Pope denies RFID as mark of the beast, Vatican employees. The Pope...
Well, look, we can see through all that. All
Con,
right?
con.
He's gonna get this, whether he denies it or not. He's a little guy on a totem pole.
That's it. That's it.
They gonna get it too.
That's it.
Whether
yeah.
he denies, we're not concerned about what he feels and thinks.
Yeah, that's right. There's another one. Yeah, the Pope and the Vatican force implements RFID chip technology. So the point is, you got information, and you got right in the smack dab in the middle of it, you got disinformation. So that's that perplexity.
Controlled opposition.
Control opposition, and creates perplexity. People are perplexed. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's what they're banking on.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good that you don't know what to believe.
Especially in Israelite
And you
land.
can't say nobody told you.
That's
we
right.
told you. All right?
With perplexity, especially in Israelite land, there's much perplexity spreading like wildfire. I don't know, GMS is the guys. But no, they're not the guys. No, they're the guys. No, they're not the guys.
Get out your emotions, man. Equally.
It ain't got nothing to do with emotions. This guy has everything to do with the spirit. You can be as cool as a cucumber and still be wrong. Okay? There's the spirit. Second Corinthians 4:2. But if I'm sorry. 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the power of this world have blinded, there goes the word blinded, the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel, good news of Yahweh Shai, the Mashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. So if you don't get it, it was meant that you didn't get it, all right? It's not that the Most High lost one. Okay, he ain't lose nobody, all right?
That's right.
The ones that's going to get it is going to get it. The ones that's not going to get it is not going to get it.
That's right. Yeah, if I may quickly say, in Isaiah, he said he will make them of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. So the ones that, they can't get it, that means they're not part of that, they're not on that elect list. They're not part of the elect. But the elect, they'll be of quick understanding. They'll get it like that,
Equally meaningful is being cognizant of the Most High's stance concerning the chip, grasping and comprehending why the Most High explicitly forbids it, and understanding the consequences and repercussions of taking the chip. First and foremost, inserting the chip is a sin transgressing Levitical law. Furthermore, in doing so, the individual has chosen to serve Babylon the Great, asserting Edom, the devil, as the master they love, rather than the creator and power, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai.
Can I read that right quick? What I just said, Isaiah 11:2. And this backs up what Elder Apostle Tar just said. Look, if a dude can't get it, he wasn't meant to get it, man. That's just the bottom line. Isaiah 11:2 and 3. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. Now, really, this is talking about Yahushai. There's a prophecy speaking about Yahushai, but those that follow Yahushai will be in the same spirit. Those that belong to him, those that are of his.
Let this mind be in thee that was in Yahushai.
That was in Yahushai. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding. So it won't take long for a guy to get it, all right, if he's of that ilk. And shall make him of quick understanding.
It's going to click.
It's going to click. Just like when you go in the car and you put on your seatbelt, it don't take you long to click that motherfucker, man. As soon as you put it, click, that's it. You in there, And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears.
Yeah, I don't like them guys' garments. One thing about Nate and them, they got them nice garments. So I think them guys, the Lord got to be dealing with them. They have more order. They're better in order. You see how they stand there? They all matching, same color and all that. Matthew 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false messiahs, all right? That's the word there. For there shall arise false messiahs, Mashiachs, and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. All these guys say the same thing, and they sound like broken records, like starting with Baloo. everybody, people leaving, dropping out of GMS left and right. Well, really? Really? There's still a lot of, well, you see all them other videos in different states and different countries making the live videos, man? Ain't nobody dropping off. There's a couple of guys dropping off here and there, and new guys are coming in. And that goes the same with any other camp. Hey, when the Apostle Paul, there was a bunch of guys that dropped off from him. Did that mean he wasn't, the Lord wasn't dealing with him? Huh? Judas Iscariot dropped off from the Lord, and he got destroyed for it.
Yeah, one time he said only Luke and Timothy was with him.
Yep. This is Matthew 24:31. It says, "And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." So, I mean, that's plain, man. That's plain. Oh, it says here, and I like this one, Romans 8:33. "Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? It is the Most High that justifieth." So they bringing all these false allegations, slander against us, but that ain't going to work. It's going to backfire on you. Right. Hey, the Most High is going to do some damage on you Israelites.
All right, back to the book. It says, "The outcome and result should one make this decision is death and destruction." Revelation 14:9-11. "Relinquishing all hope of deliverance from America's demise and ruin. Seeing that the mystery of the mark of the beast has been revealed through the Lord's prophets, several telltale signs are revealing that this prophecy is soon approaching. In the midst of the world's major economies deteriorating and in decline, with the people losing confidence and trust in the dollar and euro, the opportunity to now push the chip certainly seems ideal. The parameters and framework have been set in place. The passing of the National Defense Authorization Act has legalized martial law, one tool to be used to enforce a chip. The mark of the beast is right around the corner. May this information aid the reader and guide the elect in truth and reason, that he might prepare himself, making the just decision during the hour of temptation when one's faith is tested. The end of our faith is the salvation of our souls." 1 Peter 1:5 and verse 9. "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushai." Revelation 14:12. Shalom. And that's the end of the summary. And all you have left is just a short glossary and lexicon where it goes into certain Hebrew words, the page you can find them on, certain Greek words and the page that you can find them on, certain key words, just for edification.
It says, Revelation 3:9. "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee." 10 verse. "Because thou hast kept the word, of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation." Because there's going to be the hour of temptation. You will be introduced to the hour of temptation. You will experience it, which shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. 11, "Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." It says 12, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is Jerusalem," the New Jerusalem. So they're telling you the name, "which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name." It says, 13, "He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches." So, with that, we're going to say shalom.